Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to Fun with Marge. Before we get started with our project this week, I wanted to go over a few updates with you. Next week begins our convention on stage. And if you've never been to an on-stage event, if you're not a demonstrator, you're in for a real treat when you attend your first one. It is full of action and a lot of folks from around the world, and all demonstrators and all with their own unique creative gene that they're bringing to the table. It's a time for us to look at new product that will come out in January, as well as some new ways of new techniques and ways of doing things. So my plan is to take some photos while I'm there and post them online for you to see, and to see what an on-stage event looks like. In addition to that, I'm going to be taking a couple of weeks of vacation along with that. And I'm going to post a couple of those pictures so that you can see. I'm going to actually be going to Disney World, and then after that on a riverboat cruise up the Mississippi. So I am looking forward to sharing those pictures with you. With that being said, this will be the last video that you'll see from me until the 1st of December. But you'll see lots of photos. So I want to make sure that you're aware of what's going on, and we'll move on now to our project. I'm hoping that this will be a better angle for you to see what's happening here on my desk. If it's not, please let me know. Again, this is Fun with Marge, and you can see the other things that I'm doing at www.stampinup.net/designs by Marge. So visit me and let me know whether you like what's going on there or not. Like my page. It will help. So today what we're going to be doing is a really pretty card called Accented Blooms. It's not Christmas, it's not fall. It's specifically to help you with watercolor pencil technique. And so I wanted to show you how that's done. And there's the inside of the card. So let's get started. I decided to do this card in Melon Mambo, okay? So your stamp set is Accented Blooms, the cardstock Melon Mambo with Whisper White, the watercolor pencils, the tailored tag punch. You know, you really need a sentiment punch, and this is a good one. The ink is Melon Mambo and Memento Tuxedo Black, and then we're adding, put that in the wrong place, silver metallic thread. The thread is really slender, and it's really beautiful and really accents the card. I don't know if you can see this one really well, but this one I did in copper. Okay. So, oops. And here are your measurements. So the base, as I said, is 8.5 by 4 1/4, scored at 4 1/4. Then we have a Whisper White layer that's 4 by 5/8 and 3 by 5/8. Okay, and then we have a piece of scrap, and then we have the inside, which is 5 by 3/8 and 4 1/8. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started with our project because we have a bit to do. So in getting started with our project, we're going to take that piece of Whisper White that is 4 5/8 by 3 5/8. Okay, and we're going to choose the colors that we want to go with this. The watercolor pencils you will find on page 202. There are 13 pencils in the group for $16. So you get all of the basic colors that you need. So you get a basic black, a basic gray, Bermuda Bay, Calypso Coral, Daffodil Delight, Early Espresso, Melon Mambo, Old Olive, Pacific Point, Pumpkin Pie, Real Red, Rich Razzleberry, and Whisper White. So you can see I tried to use a lot of the colors in this. So I started with the Melon Mambo, and then I outlined it with the Rich Razzleberry. I used the Old Olive on the leaves. I used Daffodil Delight, and then I outlined it with Early Espresso. Calypso Coral here, Pumpkin Pie here, Real Red, Bermuda Bay, and Pacific Point, because I wanted you to see what the colors look like. They're very brilliant, and so hopefully that looks good to you. Okay, so what we're going to do with this one is we're going to stamp our, and this is the stamp that we decided to use, which is, show you a picture of that. It's this one. And we're going to do the thank you, and we're going to do always thinking of you, okay? There are no dies with this one. It's just the stamp set, okay? So it's, you know, more of the simple one, okay? So we're going to start by stamping this, the flowers onto the card. And I do it this way with the bigger stamp so that I can make sure that it's covered well. And I have ink every place I need it. Okay. And then I just turn it over. I want it in the center. Oops. Oops. Of my cardstock. Press down a little bit. Make sure you get it nice and even, but don't rock it. Okay, and there it is. So, and you know, when you clean this up right away, there's no problem when you're using the chamois with getting it off. It's all very clean. I really like that. Okay, so now that that's on, we're going to use our watercolor pencils. The piece that I didn't tell you about is that they are watercolor pencils. So because they are, you have to have water, okay? So you have an option between the blender pens or the aqua painter. The aqua painter delivers a lot more water than the blender pens do. The blender pens help you blend the colors, helps take the lines out without adding a lot of water to it. That's why I prefer to use the blender pens whenever I'm stamping and coloring onto regular Whisper White stock. The watercolor paper, if I were using the watercolor paper, then I would use the aqua painters that delivers more water. But if you put too much water on your regular Whisper White, you're gonna have a soggy mess, okay? So that's why I use the blender pen. The blender pen has a small end and a large end, and and they're really, really good pencils. So I decided to do this in Melon Mambo, okay? And so I want I think I want my big flower to be in Melon Mambo. So here's how you do your watercolor pencils. You start off with a light coloring all in one direction. It's really important that you go all in one direction whenever you're coloring with your watercolor pencil. Okay. And I will fast forward through this at this point so that you don't get bored. Now, you'll notice that there's a lot of white showing in there, right? And that's okay because our blender pen is going to take care of that. So watch the magic happen. And And you see what's happening is that it's filling in all those areas and it's making it a nice bright color. But again, I'm going all in one direction. And it's taking all those lines out. And you notice it didn't smear with the black. This is an important thing. So make sure you clean your pen a little bit and put the cap on it. And now what we're going to do is to use the rich raspberry. And I'm going to color the center. But in coloring the center, I want to do it in small circles. And I want to press a little harder because I want the center to be dark. And then I want to outline these, okay? And I'm going on the inside of the lines to outline them. And again, I'm pressing a little harder than I did with the Melon Mambo. And these are very forgiving. I mean, you know, you don't, if you make a mistake, it's, you know, kind of looks like it was meant to be. And you see how it's just bringing that flower out very nicely. Sorry about the truck going by. Nothing I can do about those. They have to do their job. And really, sometimes it's my little FedEx man or my UPS guy that's delivering my Stampin' Up! Stuff, so I'm always happy to see them. Okay, so now I want to take my blender pen and I just want to do the inside of this. Make sure that it's covered. And then I want to go around it with a darker pressing of the rich raspberry because I want that inside to be darker than everything else. And there's my flower. So now when you're doing the leaves, I want to show you those real quick. You go lightly with the, and this is Old Olive, okay? So you go lightly with the Old Olive all in one direction. Don't change direction. As you know, the paper will only hold so much color, so you know you want to go lightly. And then you want to take your blender pen and blend it. You don't want to get into the Melon Mambo area because then you'll have a pink leaf. Okay. Okay. And then you want to go back with your old olive, and you want to do a darker portion of it on the lines. And then on the inside of the leaf. And that's how you do that. Okay, I'm going to set that aside, so I don't want to bore you with the whole thing. On the scrap, what we're going to do is we're going to take our melon mambo and do our thank you. Make sure nothing's on it there. And you might want to stamp it once just to make sure that you're covered. Because if your pad is not juicy enough, and it looks like it probably need to re-ink mine, you're going to get some lines. So I'm going to stamp this right here. And I want to press on it a little bit, but not rock it, just to make sure that I get enough ink delivered there. And that looks good. That looks pretty good. Okay. Clean my stamp. And then we take our punch. It has a release in the back, just like any other punch. And, you know, I turn mine upside down so that I can see where it's hitting. Hopefully you can see that too. I can't tell with the camera turned that way. Then you punch it out. See, isn't that pretty? Okay, so there we have our finished piece. So now we're going to fold and burnish our card. And we're going to take a dauber, and instead of doing, you see how I did this and brought it in? I don't think I'm going to do that with the melon mambo. The other one just looked like a cloud of, you know, green that kind of goes with the ground, right? But this is a little bit different. I think I want this with the white on it. You just kind of go along the edge so that it shows up nice. Okay. And set that aside. So here's our inside. And we're going to stamp our, I put that away too soon, didn't I? We're going to stamp our sentiment. Stamp off and make sure you've got enough and it's not upside down. In the center of the card at the top is where I usually like to do it, and that's so that there's plenty of room for writing. And then we're going to take our old olive, and I just want to put these little leaves on either side of the sentiment. So one on that side and one on this side. Okay, and that's it with that. Okay, and then we're going to assemble the card. So the front of the card goes first. And so we're just going to use our regular old adhesive. I have several different types of adhesive, and so they're not all Stampin' Up, but that's okay. And you want to make sure that you center this on your page. Okay. Then we're going to get out our Stampin' Dimensionals for the back of this. We're going to put 4 of them back here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our backs off of the dimensionals. Okay. And we're going to take our silver thread and we're going to wind it about 10 times around all 4 fingers. And it's okay to have those fingers separated a little bit, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and then snip that off. Okay, then you're going to take it and kind of do a figure 8 with it. Okay, you're going to put two ends of it on that side and 2 ends of it on this side. Okay, and then you're going to put it right in the center. And snip off anything that's remaining outside. And that's the front of your card. Okay, then the inside, just line it up so that you're even on all 3 sides and then press it down. So, and that's our card. So there's this version and there's this version. So you decide which one you like best. Okay? So that's the end of the video for today. I look forward to sending the pictures, and let me know what you think of them and comment on them, please, and on the vacation. And I will see you all when I come back the 1st of December. Have a great 3 weeks and a happy weekend.